Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Extraordinary Stories with Extraordinary People. This is Amy Kochek with Amy Kochek Creative. I am so excited once again to be on here sharing stories with you. Every time we do this, I always explain why we're doing it. I am all things story related. I'm a ghostwriter. I am a coach. I'm a speaker. I'm an editor. I am all things story because I believe that your story is the most powerful asset that you possess. There's nothing on this earth more powerful. And I found that in many times when I would be talking to people about their stories, people minimize their stories, or they think, who wants to listen to this? Who cares? Well, in reality, we care. That's why we watch Netflix. That's why we listen to interviews and podcasts, because stories are fascinating. They're what makes us feel human. They're what connects us. So stories are vital. So I decided to use my platform to highlight some stories of people who are doing just really great things in this world, who have experiences, who have wisdom, and who want to share it. And I know that I've benefited. I know a lot of you have reached out and said that you're benefiting. So we just had some really, really phenomenal people on. And today is absolutely no different. Specifically for female entrepreneurs, this is going to be really awesome. So my guest is Leona Burton. Leona, I'm just going to lob it to you at the beginning. Introduce us, tell us who you are, anything else that you want to talk about. Just let us know who you are.
Okay, so first of all, thank you so much for having me. I am sat in my garden in Spain at the moment, being blown away. So if you're wondering what the hell is going on, I am outside. I'm in my element. I love to be outside. I love to be in the fresh air and really just, be at one with nature sometimes. As a busy female entrepreneur, I think it's really, really important to kind of reconnect. Who am I? So I'm a mum of 5. I know that's a bit crazy. And and I am co-founder. I'm one of 2 co-founders of Mums in Business Association, which is a company that started actually on Facebook. We created our whole following using a Facebook group. Myself and my sister were both entrepreneurs previously, and we wanted to create a platform where female entrepreneurs, specifically mums at the time, were able to share their highs and their lows of being a female entrepreneur, especially being a mum. We realized that there was nowhere really online that was sharing truthfully the difficulties of being a mum and being an entrepreneur. So we set up a small Facebook group, and within a month we had 1,000 members, and by month 3 we had 10,000 members. Wow. And it was at that point that we realized that this was something that was needed around the world. So to give you a little bit of an idea of the group, we now have almost 41,000 members. We're 2 years in, and we have women in there from over 115 countries around the world. And we've been able to grow a fairly substantial company from that Facebook group. So now we've actually reached over 1 million people with our brand, and we've done that all through social media marketing. And we encourage female entrepreneurs to share their truth. In fact, one of the things that we've done is we've had 95 best-selling authors that have worked with us in sharing their story. So we absolutely understand the power of sharing your story, and we couldn't agree more, because the things that our women have been through, the things that a lot of women have been through, is mind-blowing. And actually it's so powerful to them. It's like healing to tell their story, and also it's great for their business because it puts them out there. To become a bestseller is great because it gives you a little bit of clout. I mean, it's kind of a little bit of an ego stroke, and when you're approaching people to work with you or collaborate with you, or the press, to say you're a best-selling author, it just kind of makes you stand out that little bit more. And also, these women have gone on to inspire hundreds of thousands of other women that have been touched by their stories, and that for us is the most powerful thing, is that they've been able to, through their own struggles, empower other people and let people know that even if you're going through difficult times, even if you're having a rough time at present, or you've been through something quite horrific, it's okay. You can get through, and you can you can learn from those things, and you can progress from those things, and those things that feel like they're the worst things in the world can be huge lessons for us as women, and we can turn our lessons into money, or whatever it is that you want it to be for you. So that's been one of the best things that we've done out of having our Facebook group, is to really impact women through sharing stories. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm going to veer off my regular questioning, because this is a question I've asked so many times and I've just never gotten a great answer. But
Okay,
I know.
no pressure.
So, because I think it's so amazing that you, anything that is geared specifically towards female entrepreneurs, especially moms. I am not a mom, but I can imagine. I barely can take care of myself doing this and add in children and a husband, and you have 5. I have no idea how the hell you do it. But my question is, what are problems or struggles that are specific to being a female entrepreneur? And then what are opportunities that are specific to being a female entrepreneur that sometimes are missed?
Okay. So we get asked a lot why we don't work with men. And our answer is always this: we don't know what it's like to be a man. So we can relate to women because we are women. And it's not that I feel sometimes that people think we're anti-men, and actually we're not. We love men. They have their place, and I'm not a raging feminist that believes that women should be outpaid, out earn men. I believe that women, we have our own issues, and women's brains work very differently to men's. So I always at school had male friends, because men kind of let you know where they stand. There's no women, there's a lot of layers that you kind of have to unpeel and figure out, and there's a lot of women aren't very direct. I was brought up by a single dad. This is why I'm probably a little bit more direct than most women, and that's because I have that approach. My dad brought me up since I was 1, so kind of that definitely had an impact on the way I deal with situations. When I go into a meeting, I just want to get straight to the point. And what we find as women is we kind of skirt around the issues. And so as women, we put upon ourselves a lot of layers, and also we wear a lot of hats. So we try and differentiate between being a mum and a wife and a business owner and looking after our body, and we compare ourselves a lot to images on social media. So we almost put that upon ourselves, and what we tell women is that stop putting that pressure on yourself. Use that as an opportunity. Bring everything together. So yes, if you're a mum, you're a mum. If you're a business owner, you're a business owner. But you can bring all of that together. So for example, I take my older ones to meetings with me because I homeschool. So therefore they can learn about business. They can learn how to interact with people and, create engaging conversations and really understand the differences with different people, meet different personalities and network effectively. So the struggles of being a female entrepreneur, I believe, are different to being a male entrepreneur, in as much that we tend to put ourselves into lots of boxes. And what I encourage people to do is bring it all together. Stop trying to juggle 25 things and have separate roles. You are who you are. I'm a mum of 5, I'm a business owner, I'm a wife, I'm Leona, and you get all of me. And I don't change from one role to another role to another role. I make sure that I am, I'm not on or off. I'm just me. And I think that is when life got easier for me, because I didn't feel like I needed to flip between different characters almost, and what happened is I could live a more authentic life, and my people found me, and the people that weren't attracted to me, and that is absolutely okay. So yes, we do have different struggles to men, absolutely, but I'm not a man. I can't tell you what struggles they have, because I don't know, because I'm not one. And do we have strengths? Absolutely. So I think females I think you're going to see the rise of the female entrepreneur, because what's going to happen is females are actually stepping into their own. We're finding our power. We're almost giving each other permission to step into that CEO role. You know, Estelle and I are CEOs of a fairly big company. That our company has been a company for a year, and we've done £250,000 turnover in that year. You know,
Wow.
to be able to say that and not say it in a showy offy way. If you were going into a meeting with a guy, they'd just tell you, and there would be no hold back from that. It wouldn't be an ego stroke. It would be, this is what I've done, this is what I'm capable of. But women, it's either seen in a, look at me, aren't I so fabulous, or have you seen her, who does she think she is? It is what it is. You know, if you've turned over nothing, you've turned over nothing. I've had failing businesses. I've done lots of things that have fallen on their backside. I've had bailiffs at the door. I've had all manner of things. I nearly went bankrupt. And I'm open and honest about that situation as well. And it is what it is, you know? So
Yeah.
I think as a female entrepreneur, you're going to see females stand up, and you're going to see equality come into play. And women really step into their own, because we're almost giving each other permission now to be able to do that. And when one female does that, it encourages others to do that. And what we're seeing is in MIBA is a rise of women stepping into their own and really owning who they are and being totally authentic. And if people don't like them, that's absolutely okay, but they're giving themselves permission, because they're not looking for outside sources to kind of give them the go ahead. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, thank you so much. Finally, every time I've asked that question, I usually get there's no difference. Like, there's just no difference. And I'm like, okay, but I'm a woman, you know, just like you said. I like that, of course, just like in a characteristic type of way, the way I process emotions and business, it's different. Now, I love how passionately you speak about what you do. And usually when we get to a point of like really being passionate and working in our strengths, something has shifted us there. So take us to a pivotal moment in your life where you felt like the trajectory of your life changed and you started being pushed more towards into a leadership role of helping other women entrepreneurs. How did that happen for you?
I think for me, there were a series of events over a period of time that led to the place that I'm in now. So people see the success of MIBA, they see what we've created, and they think that just happened in the last 2 years, but really, okay, so as a company and as a a community, that's only been 2 years, but the lessons that we learned previously have got us to the point we are today. So for me, having my first at 18 and feeling very pressurized to to go back to college, to make sure that I wasn't a failure, because I came from, a wealthy family, and, it was kind of frowned upon to be a young mum. So I put a lot of pressure on myself. That was the first moment where I thought, I am not going to allow myself to fail. So I went and I got, A stars at everything, and I came out with top. I put an incredible amount of pressure on myself. Okay. Mm-hmm. Nobody else put that pressure on me. I put that upon myself.
Right.
And then, there were times when we were very, very poor. So we had 3 children by the time I was 21. So we struggled for money because, I'm trying to go to college and university, and my husband's trying to work, and it was very difficult. I'd not had any brothers or sisters. Having children is crazy, right? Nobody gives you a handbook, otherwise it would be much more simple. So there were points when we were going to the supermarket when everything was reduced to do our food shop late at night, so that we could save money. Or we'd run out of electricity. In the UK, we had like electricity meters, and you had to top them up, and if you ran out, like, you had no electricity. So that was kind of another moment. And then more recently, about 3 years ago, my husband complained of stomachache. Yeah, I just thought he was being a man, not even gonna lie. So I kind of just poo-pooed it. And then he the next day he was in absolute agony. So my best friend was actually with us for the weekend at the time. She said, I'll take him in because obviously I've got all the children. She took him in and he didn't come out for 4.5 weeks. His bowel burst. He ended up with sepsis and an abscess in his pelvis. He was very, very poorly. Lost a lot of weight, was on his deathbed for a little while, and that was a big change for me. So my husband's always been really hands-on, so obviously I was having the children a lot more, and I just thought, my goodness, that he was 29 at the time. 29, that's like no age, and at that point previously I've been living asking for permission, and not really out loud, but asking for permission, seeking permission from everybody else, about my weight, about my lipstick, am I wearing too much makeup? Somebody told me I was wearing too much makeup, then I'd be like, oh my God, that's horrendous, and I worked in television for on and off for about 7 years. And I'm curvy, so I would compare myself to all of the other actresses, and I would be, oh, I'll go for that role when I've lost this amount of weight, or I'll start this business when I get permission from so and so, or I won't parent my children in the way I want to parent them because so and so told me that that's not the right way to parent. And literally every aspect of my life, I was looking for permission from other people because I had allowed myself to be not controlled, but to have an air of control from other people. And at that point, that's when I said enough's enough, and I literally cut people out of my life. It was quite brutal, I can't lie. I cut people out of my life, and I made a decision that I was going to live with my family on my terms, in my own way, and for myself and for my family, and regardless of the impact on other people, and I mean that in the nicest selfish way possible. That was the turning point, and that was probably the most pivotal moment in growing to the heights that I am today. And now I live on my terms. If I want to wear bright red lipstick, I'll wear it. If I want to wear whatever I want to wear, I'll wear whatever I want to wear. I don't seek permission from other people. I live for myself. And even to my husband's dismay, probably most of the time, I do what I want when I want, and he's like, okay, whatever, and he just knows that I have to live that way because I was painfully miserable before. Now I homeschool my children. My children are thriving. Now I'm in Spain. Now I'm going to travel to the States for 3 months. I can do that because I chose to only ask myself for permission rather than everybody else.
Yeah. So how did you get to the point of having that like awakening and like living for yourself, and then transitioning to helping other women do the same through this business that you created? Like, how did that start for you?
So the conversation, for a long time, Estelle and I had talked about the struggles being a female entrepreneur. I mean, I've been working for myself since I was 18, so I understood, and I always wanted to give back. I always wanted to help, especially young mums. So I actually put my name down for mentoring for young mums that were having a tough time, because I'd been there. I could understand, I could relate. So it was already there. It was already part of my plan. And so when Estelle and I had several conversations about setting up a Facebook group to be able to set up a support group for mums, it was just many a drunken conversation, to be honest. And one day we were like, why are we just not doing this? Why are we procrastinating over this any longer? And so we set up the group, and to be honest, it's been as much therapy for us as it has other people. To be able to give back, to be able to support people, to be able to be sometimes people's only source of support has been our driving force. When we're working 18 hours a day, that's the thing that has got us through, not the money, because it can't just be about money. It's our passion is in supporting and helping these women. We've paired up with a few different charities that for women who are in refuges or been victims of domestic violence. My husband ended up with a colostomy bag after his bowel burst, so we've helped the Colostomy UK. We try and give back in as many ways as we can, because we know with our influence and with our following and with what we're able to do, we have that impact so we can. So it was, using our rough times, and I'm sure my sister will come on and tell you about hers, but using that as the driving force to be able to support other people, so that they wouldn't have to go through what we've been through, or we could make it slightly easier for them. Because when I was going through what I was going through, I had nobody but my sister. I had very, very few friends that were supportive, and I felt very alone, and it was very, very lonely. And I thank my lucky stars that I'm really strong-willed and kind of stubborn, to be honest. I am stubborn, and it's been my worst and my best trait at times. But that's the only way that I got through. And so if we can help other women get through without having to kind of pull the hair out and kind of, have a really, really tough time, then that's what we want to be able to do.
Yeah. So through that whole experience, and even with starting Mums in Business, what do you feel like is your biggest takeaway? Like, what's been your biggest lesson that you've learned personally through that situation?
To ask for help. I think that that would be my biggest tip for anybody, is that you feel, when you're going through something, you feel like nobody else has ever been through that thing, or nobody feels the way that you feel, because you're strange, or you're ashamed, or you feel like a failure, or whatever it is that you're telling yourself. And actually, when you open up, you are so surprised at the amount of people that have been through similar situations. And honestly, if I'd have only asked for help years ago, my life would have looked very different. I'm grateful now, because obviously all has worked out. But if I'd only asked for help, if I'd only asked for support, support that didn't look like control, it looked like actual support. There's a difference.
Yeah. How do you feel like your upbringing and the things that you went through, how do you feel like it gives you more of an edge as a female entrepreneur?
Well, my dad was an entrepreneur, so I think that's definitely rubbed off on me, even though we butt heads. We really, really butt heads. So I think I was surrounded by personal development all of my childhood. You know, how to win friends and influence people. I was reading that at 10. It's just, Tony Robbins was a regular in our house, when, on the cassette player, whenever cassettes were around. It was always around. And I did it. I was not interested in business when I was a kid. I wanted to act, or I wanted to be a marine biologist. Like, I was not interested in business. Business looked boring as heck. And I even went to college to study business to please my dad, and I hated it. I hated it. I thought it was so boring. Learning about the logistics of business. For me, I learned so much more actually doing business. And so, do I think that my upbringing had an impact? Yeah, absolutely, it did. And what I want to show my children is, if you want to be an entrepreneur, be an entrepreneur, but do something that you love, because that's the most important thing. It isn't about money. You need money to pay your bills, but it's about what you love. It's about your passion. It's about your purpose, what you're here to do, what excites you, what gets you going, what do you thrive off. I see so many people who have got money who are miserable. They're doing something just for the money, and it's painful. It's painful to watch. And I also see people that are earning pennies doing absolutely everything that they love. And so, for me, yes, it's had a massive impact, and I think it does. Having those role models in your house. Most of the time people live with their parents, and parents don't realize that little eyes are watching all the time. We forget as parents, right? Because we're just busy in the day to day, and they're watching all of the time. So yeah, I think it definitely had an impact on my my entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah. When women specifically come into your group and they take part in what you guys offer, do you take them through a system or a process, or is it when they come in, wherever their needs are, you try to meet them? How does that work?
So when somebody, you have to think, so the volume of people that we have through the group, we have about 1,200 to 1,800 new people every single month. So the group is very, very fast.
Yeah.
So when somebody comes in the group, it may be a little bit overwhelming, but when people start to see the flow, so we have a structure to the group. We have structure to our content that goes in every single day. And also we have, content that just is off the cuff kind of content. And so when people come into the group, they kind of find their way. But the best thing, the biggest piece of advice I have for people when they come into the group is ask questions. No question is too stupid. People ask the craziest of questions, but it doesn't matter. There's always somebody in there that will know the answer. Stella and I aren't experts at everything. But we have experts at pretty much everything in the group. Anything that you want, they're in there. So ask as many questions as you can. Network really, 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 really effectively. Have conversation. People forget. Women love to talk. Most women love to talk, right? So opening your mouth and having conversations with people is the best way that you can grow your business. It's the best way you can grow your knowledge. It's the best way you can grow your skill set. It's the best way you can learn. And, it's about surrounding yourself with people that are, where you want to be, or have done what you want to do, or, who can help you along the way. So really, if you come into the group, get yourself dug straight in, ask as many questions as you can, and really figure out how you can use the group to most effectively grow your business.
Perfect. So one final question, specifically to the female entrepreneurs. I want you to talk directly to a female entrepreneur that may be watching and she's overwhelmed, she's frustrated. She might be a mom, she might be single, but she feels like giving up, she feels lonely. All of the things that we have felt at some point on this journey, what specifically would you say to her to either encourage her or some form of advice that you could give her?
Okay, so my first bit of advice would be to stop. And I know this is a little bit controversial. Most coaches would tell you to hustle your way through but sometimes, just sometimes, you actually need to stop and you need to figure out if you're truly doing what you love. We all have days where we're shattered, or we've had enough, or we've had no's, or we've had people wanting to sue us or steal our business ideas, all manner of things. I've been trolled, I've been called every single name under the sun. I really have. And so what I recommend is you stop and you do something that you enjoy, whether that eat chocolate, drink wine, go for a run, go to the gym, just go and do that thing. And then build yourself back up. Read a book, listen to an audible, watch your favorite YouTube channel, get yourself in front of your girlfriends, be around positive people, be around that level of energy that you need so that you can recoup. Because as women, we work ourselves into the ground, and that's when you become overwhelmed and you're just like, I don't know what to do, I'm lost, I'm stressed, and you're just losing your mind with everybody and you're getting nowhere. You're kind of going round and round in circles. So what I would say is stop and just do something fun, right? Remind yourself what you're on the planet to do and kind of go from there. And then figure out, are you actually totally aligned with what it is that your mission has been? Because a lot of times, and I work with so many female entrepreneurs that have hammered hard at their business, you talk to them, they're not enjoying what they've been doing. They haven't been enjoying it for 3 years, but they've just been going at it because they don't want to disappoint people. They don't want to feel like a failure. They don't want to feel like, everyone's going to talk about them should they give up their business, change direction, change path, whatever it is. And it's okay. I've had businesses that I cried when I gave them up because I felt like people were judging me and, saying this and that, and they probably were. But do you know what? It was painful. I was going into my business crying, stressed. One business was paying for the other business. I was working 7 days a week, 18 hours a day, doing something I absolutely hated. It was costing me a fortune and I was miserable. And I think, making sure that you're totally in love with that thing that you're doing, even when you have had enough and you just need a break, you still love that thing. You still absolutely would do it for free if you had to. And having that conversation with yourself and being completely honest with yourself is something that is so important, because we lie to ourselves. We do. We're like, everything's fine. Somebody asks you how you are, I'm fine. Sometimes you're not fine. Sometimes you hate your business. Sometimes you want to throw it out the window. And realizing whether you're having a pity party in a bad 5 minutes is important, or realizing that you're actually doing something you're not enjoying. And do you know what? Owning that and being like, do you know what? I want to change direction. I want to go and work in a coffee shop for 6 months so that I can recoup, so I can actually, gather some brain cells and really find my mission and my passion and my purpose again. That's absolutely cool. So, for me, it's not just about hammering through it. It's about taking a few steps back and really being able to project yourself forward in a different direction.
Yeah.
If you need to.
I love that. So for the people who are watching who want to get connected with you and possibly Moms in Business, how do they get connected with you and with what you're doing?
Okay, so you can find me on Facebook, you can find me on Instagram, so I'm Leona Burton on Facebook, Leona Burton Official on Twitter, Leona Burton Official on Instagram. We have a Mums in Business Association Instagram page. We have mumsinbusinessassociation.com website. If you just Google MIBA or Mums in Business Association, we're everywhere. So you'll find us at some point. But come over and say hello, introduce yourselves, tell me you've been watching. I can't see any questions if you have any questions. If you have any questions but you don't want them to be public, get in my inbox. I always answer anybody that gets in my inbox as long as I find you. Sometimes some slip through the net and there is some random inbox in Facebook that they've decided to stack them in. But yeah, absolutely free to answer anything that you want to know, whether that be growing through social media, mindset, being a mom, homeschooling, whatever it is. I also have a child with special needs, just to throw it into the mix. So, drop your questions away.
Yeah, I love it. And we'll put those in the comments too for those that are wanting to access you. Leona, thank you so much for your time, your wisdom, your experience. I know that people have benefited from what you shared today, and make sure that you guys tune in on Friday, because the other half of Mums in Business Association, which is Leona's sister Estelle, is going to be on. So we're going to get even more information and seeing what great things that you guys are doing for women. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, and have a wonderful day, everyone. We'll see you back on